So I'm Susie Wilson. I'm an autistic and ADHD poet who lives in Sheffield. So I'm an interloper. And this poem was originally prompted by the idea of spoon theory, which is that theory that when you have limited attention or energy, you only have so many spoons that you can use up in any one day. Once you've used them, they're gone. It's also relevant to people with fatigue, which I have as well. But in actual fact, it then bounced off from one of the workshop prompts into the idea of stimming. So that autistic thing you do where you do repetitive physical actions to gain sensory satisfaction. And I wrote this poem, really didn't like it, and then I thought, no, I'm going to rewrite it, because why shouldn't I just enjoy the sound of the words? Why shouldn't I really actually highlight the autistic excitement, the ADHD excitement that I get, which I often mute because it's supposed to be all literary and stuff, and I thought, sod it, no. And the linked ideas. So that's what this poem does. It tries to be sensory and jump about as much as it wants to in an excitable way. So it's called Contemplating Spoon Theory and the Stim of Food. I saw myself filled up with porridge, yoghurt, honey, fruit, all through the bowl of a stainless steel spoon. Filled up, enough. But then together, spoon and my hands made a fluke, and on it went, in a loop, in a flow of food, porridge, honey, yoghurt, fruit, smoked fish soup, mashed potato, jelly, trifle, summer pudding, cocoa pops, peanut butter, lime marmalade, spicy dal, butter chicken, curry, pilau, rice, even chips balanced on the spoon, a juicy steak, coffee cake, coffee granules, sugar, butter, cream, porridge, yoghurt, honey, tea, a poached egg, coffee, sugar, longing. When would it end? I was so hungry, I was on hunger drive. It wasn't the spoon. It was hyper-hunger drive. This is the stim of food. Sometimes I could pickle my own face in desire for sensation, become a spoon in a jar of honey, diving into gloop, scuba through molecules like a dolphin on speed. Why not? And suddenly I was dolphin, needing water, needing air, needing both. Surface suck, dive, suck, surface dive, the friction of wanting. Tail handle driving, spoon mouth first, into the air, into the water, into the bait ball. I see it all, I hear it all, I eat it all. I am dolphin, I am spoon.
What's been your favourite part being part of this group?
I was thinking about this and I can't remember which week it was, but I suddenly thought, oh look, people are really revealing themselves. And I think it was, people did it from the start, but when they started sharing their writing, really quickly, I felt like people's actual characters they were really showing. And I think that's quite rare in writing groups, generally. And I think it's down to the fact that we're all here going, we're all autistic together, and it's okay to do that. So you have somebody talking about their harmonica playing, somebody else telling you all about their family, and how they lived all over different bits of the world and here, and all those connections came out. And then someone else talking about Canada in a really deep way. And there was a lot of really deep, detailed sharing of fascinating stuff that represented people's characters. And all of that happened just out of somebody sharing a bit of writing and then explaining it a bit. And it was like a door opening, you know, people just really, just showing themselves. And that was the absolute best thing for me, is that people did that. And so over there right now, most of us are just sitting there not actually talking, but we're very comfortable because we know who we're sitting next to. So you can talk when you want to, and you don't have to at other times. And that's pretty unique, to be able to have that environment for a writing space. But yeah, I thought that was my favourite thing. People really did show themselves across a big range, because you've got some people who've maybe almost never written before, and some people who haven't written for years, and yet everybody did it. You know, everybody opened the door, and I was like, wow, look at that. So that's pretty magic.
I think my second question, I think you've answered some already. So if you want to say I've answered that, that's fine. But my second question was, is there anything that feels particularly special about having a group of this kind? I know you've talked about being in other writing groups before, and other people have mentioned that they haven't really been part of other writing groups. That feels special about being specific about who can come.
Yeah.
And having that connected to writing as well.
Yeah, there really is actually, which is, it's about respect actually, I think. So I was saying that everyone revealed themselves. Why did they do that? Because we were respecting each other. And we really were. So no one said anything this entire time that anyone has even vaguely batted an eyelid at. Nobody said, what? I don't get that. Where are you coming from? There's none of that weirdness. So that incomprehension that I quite often get in writing groups just isn't there. So it's lovely to just be comprehended. But also, it's just completely not judgmental because we really were respecting each other for who we are, I think, anyway. So whilst I say that actually I've not been very well while we've been doing this, it's made it possible for me to keep coming because I know that if I write what I regard as a pants poem, that's going to be genuinely fine. And if I write a poem that's really left field and I haven't sorted out yet, people are going to pick out some bits of it that they do like, and they're not going to look at me like I've got three heads, which is my normal experience. So yeah, that really comes down to it's just an openness thing. And I think if there was anyone in the room who was not autistic, I wouldn't feel like that at all. I would have that worry, which doesn't mean to say that I want to live my life in a solely autistic space, but it's really valuable to have it because I can just put that baggage down and try things more. Because, it's really vulnerabilising writing. And when you are giving us new prompts to do, like I don't normally write narrative, and you gave us a whole narrative exercise, I was like, bleh, vile. But I could have a go because I feel okay doing that in front of these people more than I would actually in front of some other non-autistic writers that I know much better. Because I can trust these guys to maybe see where my brain's coming from better, even if we couldn't articulate what that is. It's just sort of more okay. I can't put it any better than that, but...
I don't think you need to, that was brilliant.
Well, so yeah, the level of respect, which it would be incredibly difficult to describe to somebody. Or maybe another word for it would just be appreciating how people really are. And in fact the level of intelligence as well, because I think there's a huge amount of time. I've taught for over 20 years in schools, and certainly when I started the assumption was, autistic meant genius or stupid, but you get the full range in between, and generally speaking much higher than is assumed. So, I've spoken in groups where people have assumed I'm some sort of genius, so they don't bother listening. They don't bother engaging with what I'm really saying. They just go, oh, she's really eloquent. I'm like, no, listen. Or I'll say something weird and people assume I'm actually being really dim. Or I'll say something really playful and they think I'm a buffoon. And that's quite a difficult path to navigate. And I haven't had any of that here at all. Because I've been all three of those things in this group. And people have been like, yeah, fine. It's good.
Is there anything additional you'd like to ask, please?
Just thinking about, is there anything that we could do to make it even more autistic friendly?
Well, I was thinking about that, and I'm quite interested in the difference between just unmasking, which we've done, I think, really well. You've made it really possible for us. You just repeatedly said, do what you want and all the rest of it. Between that and structuring it so that it's accessible. And it's probably the teacher in me thinking of things like being able to see stuff, or being able to know what's coming, or building on something repetitively a little bit. so that we're not always beginning things, we're continuing things. But I'm not convinced that those are the answer, because I've been told, probably by non-autistic people, that's what you do when you teach autistic people. But I'd be really interested in exploring what is the structure that really enables autistic writers to keep writing. You know, what things
It's
help
a great
that.
question for us to investigate, isn't it?
It's an investigation question,
Yeah.
because it's like, if some of us take longer to process, I do, so I find it really hard to do a short piece of work on a prompt. It's like almost guaranteed not to work. Like something will come out, but it's just going to be a really horrible experience for me inside my head. Whereas a slower or a longer one, or something I'll come back to again 2 or 3 more times, might suit my processing
Yeah,
head better.
that's great.
Don't know.
Thank you.